Welcome back to another episode of Rob Sports Center. As you can see by the title and by the thumbnail, we're going to be breaking down film from Caleb Williams' game against the Buffalo Bills. So we're going to get straight into it. So the very first play, you see him under center, which is kind of intriguing to me because a lot of the guys that I broke film down on Shedeur, Cam Ward, Jackson Dart, a lot of those guys were operating from the shotgun, but right here, and I know that they were saying that Chicago might be trying to implement more of a two tight end offense. I'm not quite sure if that's something that they consistently ran in the past, but I know that there was something they were saying that they were trying to run this year. So they do the very first play. You see some of what you're probably going to see a lot this year. And having a strong running game too also makes that and actually makes that work. If the defense doesn't really feel threatened of you running the ball, then it's kind of hard to really sell play action. But when they know that you can run the ball and that you're capable of running the ball, that's the most important thing. Then that's what makes those play actions work. So right here, they just pretty much run a boot with Caleb Williams, which obviously running those boots, it gives you two options with your quarterback, especially if you have one that's mobile that he can either run, depending on how the defense plays it, or he can just dump it off like how he did right here. And I'm expecting this tight end connection with Caleb Williams. I can't remember his name, but I'm expecting that to be a pretty good connection because even just breaking down film like this play right here, you've seen that they hooked up on a few plays. So I'm kind of curious to see how that play out in terms of going into the finishing out preseason and going into the regular season. But they just ran a simple boot, just a simple pitch and catch from Caleb Williams to the tight end. Once again, man, as a quarterback in today's game, being that so many of them are mobile, one of the things about being mobile, you have to be able to throw on the run. And he does a good job at just being able to get it out there to the tight end accurately, not breaking stride. The tight end never breaks stride. The tight end is able to just catch the ball, tuck it, and get upfield. And that's exactly what you want. And that's kind of similar to what I was saying in the Cam Ward film breakdown, was that as a quarterback, as a mobile quarterback, right, you have to be able to throw on the run, right? But the main thing is throw accurately on the run, just like this right here. Because if you put that ball behind him, you put the ball too far out in front of him, and he has to do a little too much to catch it, then it takes away the possibility of yards after the catch. But if you do a good pitch and catch right here, put it right there in between the 8 and between the 4, it allows him to be able to catch the ball, secure the catch, and try to get what he can get with yards after the catch. Now, in this play right here, you got Caleb Williams in the shotgun. So you remember in the first clip, I was talking about him being under center and how a lot of the other quarterbacks that I broke film down were operating from the shotgun. So one of the benefits of operating from the shotgun, especially with younger quarterbacks, is that it gives them a more broader view of the defense to be able to see exactly what the defense is in. It makes the picture a little bit more clear for them. In shotgun opposed to being under center. So if you look right here, especially from this angle, it does a really good job. So I'm kind of looking and trying to see exactly what defense they are in, because the way it was looking, honestly, I thought that maybe it was a cover zero with no over-the-top help, because you look at Damar Hamlin, how he was kind of shaded more over towards the left hash, and then you got the other safety down here. He was playing towards the box, but then just bailed all the way downfield. So it was kind of that right there kind of left me with a question mark in terms of exactly what defense they were in. But as you can see right here with the tight end just runs past number 44 because like he kind of was playing as a zone to probably try to take away anything that's coming underneath any crossing routes. And it just was a little window right there that Caleb Williams was able to get the ball to. Now, when we talk about throwing with anticipation, right, when you look at it, pretty much when he crosses over and gets past number 44, the ball could have kind of been coming free. We're going to look at it right here. And about right there, I would say, because if he would have threw the ball, Damar Hamlin, obviously, like we always talk about throwing with anticipation, right? So as a quarterback, what throwing with anticipation mean, which it takes that type of trust between your quarterback and receivers, is for me to trust that you're going to be at that particular spot at that particular moment. Because the thing is this, when you're throwing with anticipation, the ball is leaving your hands before the receiver even gets to that spot most of the time. That's why as receivers, we were always taught the first thing to do, head around, hands up, because you never know when the ball is coming. Most of the time, and they used to always tell us that at the high school level, when you get to college, things are going to be different. So you have to get used to getting your head around. So right here, if he would have released that ball, it would have probably given him a little bit more opportunity for yards after the catch, because as soon as if you throw when the receiver is open, like right here, you notice that he's open. As soon as you notice that he's open, the defenders knows that he's open. So it gives them time to be able to close the distance and make a play on the ball, kind of like Damar Hamlin did right here, being able to close the distance and, minimize the game for less than what it could have possibly been had he kind of just got rid of it a little bit earlier. So I'm going to show y'all exactly what I meant. So in the previous clip, you seen that I was talking about throwing with anticipation, and then I was talking about throwing whenever you see that the guy is open, and it allows the defenders to be able to close the distance and make a play. So notice that the safety comes downhill. Notice what number is that? It's that number 24. So notice, watch this. Watch number 24. As he come downhill, he's pretty much reading Caleb Williams' eyes. So you see Caleb Williams' eyes is over there on the outside receiver. So when he's coming downhill, he might have been coming downhill to possibly try to play number 35, or he might have been trying to come downhill to blitz, or he might have been trying to come downhill to kind of play as a more of like a little robber rover role that plays underneath to try to take away any routes coming across the middle. But he comes downhill, he notices Caleb Williams' eyes, and Caleb Williams kind of hesitates and then throws the ball, which allowed for him to close the distance. Now, granted, it was still a completion, so the sticks would still move, but I'm just saying that's exactly what I was talking about in terms of when you have to throw in anticipation. Now, throwing anticipation, once again, it takes a level of knowing defenses from the quarterbacks, understanding to know, okay, based off of the position and pre-snap reads, this is where the safeties are at, so this is more times than not the defense they're in. But if you guess and get it wrong and you throw in with anticipation thinking that this was the coverage that they were in and it wasn't, it can end up in a bad situation. But whenever it's done right, it leads to more explosive plays potentially, because it doesn't allow the defenders to be able to close the distance as quickly, because it happens so instantaneous whenever you're able to throw with anticipation opposed to kind of looking at them like you did right here. But that still was a good pass. He still put the ball right there on the money in between the numbers, and the receiver still had opportunity to catch it and to try to make something happen after the catch. And he did be able to, break the tackle from number 24 and kind of be able to get a little bit more yards pushing forward. So pretty much just some strong running from DJ Moore. So once again, you see we got Caleb Williams in a shotgun. So this was really just a good job at reading the defense. You see that pre-snap read. Obviously, you see that they got two high safeties. So more times than not, that pretty much lets you know that there's probably a cover 2 and probably a cover 4 by it being a 2 high safety shell. But here's the thing too. I'm looking at the snap of the ball, and you look at where Damar Hamlin started off pre-snap, and then you look at where he started off post-snap, where he kind of came downhill as if, that it was a man cover. So it could have been some type of showing 2 high and then rotating down to a 1 high. But he just does a good job at reading the linebacker number 44. So I guess it was like a high-low read to where if the linebacker played with depth, then he would have threw the ball underneath to the receiver. But if the linebacker came downhill to number 14, then he just would have threw it over the linebacker's head, just like how he did there. And once again, he did a good job at putting it on the money right there to number 84, allowing him to be able to safely secure the catch and to try to pick up a few little extra yards, which he did right here. So he got a few little extra yards right there as well. So once again, maximized on the yards gained after the catch. Just good reading the defense from Caleb Williams, and just good execution as a whole. But once again, guess what? It shows you the benefit of having an offensive play caller like Ben Johnson, who draws up these plays, who probably spending more time with him, teaching him how to pre-snap read, post-snap read, and things like that. And I mean, obviously, based off of it's just preseason, but from what I've seen so far, man, I can't lie, I have been impressed. Once again, man, we got the magic that is Ben Johnson just calling up the right play. But like I say, once again, it goes to number 14. He has to get his flowers on this play as well, man. That just was a phenomenal fake. And, I always talk about when it comes to the art of route running, that's really all it is. It's just the illusion to get the receiver, to get the corner or the defensive back, whether it's a corner, safety, linebacker, who's ever matched up on you, to get them thinking that you're going one way and go the complete opposite. So obviously right here, when he came off the line of scrimmage, his whole thing was he wanted to go inside. So in order to go inside, you have to attack the outside shoulder of the defender, which he did a good job at, and being able to freeze him and just bounced it in. But once again, who gets some credit on this play as well? Caleb Williams, with being able to place the ball right where the ball was needed. Because if he underthrows that ball, that's a possible interception. And if he overthrows the ball and the receiver catches it, it doesn't end up in a touchdown. You see what I'm saying? And notice too, one thing that I like right here is that you kind of even seen that it was more so I would say maybe a half field read, because you look at him right here at the snap of the ball, you're going to look at him. He's going to look to the left side first. Boom. Watch, he looks to the left side. Obviously, the pitcher probably wasn't where he wanted it to be, the left side. And then, two, it could have been, just to kind of throw the defense off. And he was able to kind of get work from the left side into the midfield to get the matchup that they wanted, which was number 14. And like I said, once again, man, he just did a phenomenal job on this route. And Caleb Williams just did a phenomenal job at delivering the ball to him. And like I say, that one of the things, too, I've been looking at from breaking down film, he just looked real calm and relaxed. Not saying that he wasn't last year, but obviously, he was a rookie. We know the situations that that he was coming into, with Chicago not being a very good team as it was, to be able to have a shot at getting him. But it just looks like to me from this game so far, what I've seen, he just looks a little bit more confident. He looks a little bit more calm and relaxed, and I think that obviously is a benefit, having Ben Johnson come and partnering him with Caleb Williams. And obviously, the success that Ben Johnson has had, it makes it easier for Caleb Williams to buy into whatever it is that he's preaching. But like I said, man, once again, man, I'm liking what I'm seeing so far. All right, so once again, you got Caleb Williams operating out the shotgun. You got number 35, who does a good job, a phenomenal job, actually, at being able to pick up the blitzer. Watch number 35, boom, they're able to pick up the blitzer to buy Caleb Williams enough time to be able to get the ball out of his hand to DJ Moore. And there was something, too, that I was seeing that just from watching film, is that everything was kind of designed around getting the ball out of his hands quicker. You know what I mean? Just like this play right here, just like the touchdown previously, everything was just kind of predicated on getting the ball out of his hands quicker. And I know that's what a lot of people were saying, that was something that he kind of had problems with. And a lot of that could have not just been him. I mean, it could have honestly just been play calling. Was he being put in the best possible position in order to be successful? And sometimes that can be a very big, I ain't gonna say sometimes, that is a very big factor in terms of especially younger quarterbacks, or any quarterback, if you really want to be honest, but especially younger quarterbacks' success, or is he being put in the right positions to be successful? So right here, you get DJ Moore lined up and matched up in the slot, and he kind of just had the receiver on the corner beat. You see that he had him, was straightening his cushion, which made him open up his hips, and just being able to just kind of cut it outside and just caught him off balance. And once again, Caleb Williams just did a very good job at delivering the ball right there to him. Just beautiful pass right there, going towards the side on the out of bounds line. He put the ball right there to where, DJ Moore possibly could have even tried to make some moves to try to make a little bit more happen. But he just did what he needed to do to be able to get the first down, move the stick. So like I said, phenomenal, good route running on DJ Moore's part, and then just a good pass from Caleb Williams. So, like I said, man, I know that this is just the preseason, so we're not going to just jump to conclusion, but I would say just kind of what I seen, and I'm not even sure if he even had an incompletion on that drive, man, on this scoring drive. I think that he might have completed every pass on that. I could be mistaken. If I am, let me know that. But like I said, man, nevertheless, man, I enjoyed seeing what I saw from him, and it shows a lot of promise. Like I said, man, just being partner with an offensive mind like Ben Johnson. We seen what he was able to do. You take a guy like Jared Goff, who essentially it looked like his career might have been over with, and you put him with Ben Johnson, and now he goes from where he was at, and to being like a household name in terms of the quarterback position in NFL. So I think that that's a very good piece that they added to help Caleb Williams in terms of his development now. So now I feel like now he's gonna develop and turn into more of a complete quarterback, opposed to just kind of relying on his athleticism, trying to really roll out the pocket and kind of do some schoolyard bull crap, the stuff that he was doing in college that we all know isn't going to work in the NFL, just because the defenses get so much faster and they become so much smarter. So the things that you could once do, like roll out one side of the field and throw back across your body in the college, you can't do that in the NFL, So now getting with an offensive mind like Ben Johnson, hopefully they'll sharpen up those tools that we know that he got, and he can maximize on his full potential. So like I said, I'm curious to see the connection between him and that tight end. I think that that's going to be some great things there moving forward. So we just kind of see how that play out for the rest of preseason and going into the regular season. But man, that is it for this video. If you did enjoy this video, do me a big favor, man. Smash that thumbs up button. Also, if you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe. And when you subscribe, make sure that you turn that notification bell on, and we be notified every time I upload. And I'll see y'all in the next video.